Chapter 12. Astral Self-Expression. It is one of the saddest features of earth life that we find ourselves unable to express to the fullest the creative impulse, the artistic urge, the striving of the genius within us to unfold itself. After passing a certain place in the scale of life, the evolving soul finds within itself the ever-present urge of the something within which is striving to express and unfold itself into objective manifestation. It may be the craving to express in art, music, literature, invention, or it may be the insistent desire to be at work remodeling the affairs of the world near to the soul's desire. In all of such cases, it is really the creative impulse at work, striving to make things in objective form, in accordance with a pattern or model within the soul. And toward such expression, head, heart, and hand is eager to work. But alas, very few are able to realize in earth life 1/10 of what the soul dreams. The artistic instinct is ever hungering for perfect expression, and yet it is given but the crumbs that fall from the table. The soul is ever thirsting for progress and achievement, and yet it is given but the few drops that trickle from the fountain. If this one life were all, if these longings, cravings, desires, and hunger and thirst of the soul depended only upon the possibility of the one earth life, then indeed would the moaning cry of the pessimist be justified, and the wail of the discouraged be justified. For in fact these impulses and cravings are but as the urge of the seed striving to break through its sheath, that it may put forth stem, branch, blossom, and fruit. And the seed can scarcely expect to reach the blossom and fruit while it is in the earth. But as the advanced occultist knows full well, these seed desires are but the promise of the future blossom and fruit. The very fact of their existence is a proof of the possibility, nay, the certainty of their fulfillment. So far from being a cause of discouragement, they should be regarded as a prophecy of future achievement and realization. It has been well said that in every aspiration there dwells a certainty of its own fulfillment. These words seem like mockery to many, and indeed there would be mockery were the possibility of realization confined to the one particular earth life in which they are manifested. But to the soul which is advanced on the path of attainment sufficiently high that it may look back and down upon the plains of life behind it, it is seen that these strivings of genius to express itself are but the labor pains of the soul, which must precede the future birth of the fruit of the genius. On the astral plane these seeds of genius put forth stem and branch, and are prepared for the blossom and fruit of the incarnations ahead of it. In the highly concentrated state of the mind, in certain phases of the astral life, the talents and genius of the individual grow and develop very rapidly, and the next incarnation finds the individual ready and prepared to manifest the power which he has generated during his sojourn on the astral. The soul may be said to receive and store up energy while on the astral, which will enable it to manifest heretofore undreamed of powers in the next earth life. A familiar example is that of a boy who is learning to skate, and who finds that he makes little progress during the afternoon. He goes to sleep that night and forgets all about the art of skating. But when he returns to that task the next day, lo, he finds that he has made wonderful progress. The majority of us have had similar experience regarding our little tasks in life. And we find that something happens to us when we are asleep. The secret of the above-mentioned phenomena is that during the sleep of the boy, his subconscious or instinctive mind rehearses the task until it has accomplished much in the direction of mastering it, and the next day it puts into practice that which it has learned during the night. But the conscious mind is not aware of the process of learning. There are depths of the mind which take these tasks of ours, and which, while we are asleep and our objective conscious faculties are resting, straighten out the troublesome kinks of performance and practice the tasks to which to be performed the coming day. In the same way, the superconscious, not the subconscious, faculties of the mind of the soul practice and become proficient in the tasks of the next earth life, as indicated by the urge of desire and the pangs of achievement-seeking birth. But with this difference, the soul is fully conscious of the workings of the superconscious faculties, and in fact experiences the greatest joy in the work of development and achievement. The heaven world of these souls which are possessed of the desire to do things, to create, to perform, to make, is indeed a realm of bliss. For there the soul finds itself able to manifest the things which are beyond it during the earth life, and to express itself in a measure almost beyond the fondest dreams and hopes of the soul on earth. And this expression and manifestation is performed from the very love of the performance, from the joy of the work, the ecstasy of creative achievement, rather than from the hope of reward. On the astral plane alone can the soul find the conditions which are pictured in Kipling's lines. Verse: and only the Master shall praise us, and only the Master shall blame, and no one shall work for money, and no one shall work for fame, but each for the joy of the working, and each in his separate star, shall draw the thing as he sees it, for the God of things as they are. The same thing is true of the seeker after knowledge, the man to whom the exercise of the intellect is the greatest joy. Such a one finds the books of knowledge open for many pages beyond those of which he is compelled to pause in earth life. The philosopher, the scientist, the metaphysician, the naturalist, these find full exercise for their faculties on the astral plane. The library of the cosmos, the laboratories of the universe, are at their disposal, and they are made welcome here. They find their heart's desire fulfilled in the opportunities afforded them on the astral plane, and they go back to earth life, when their time comes for reincarnation, with stimulated intellect and increased reasoning power. What they have thus learned appears in the next life as intuition. It is a fact well known to the advanced occultist that great inventors like Edison, great philosophers like Hegel or Herbert Spencer, great scientists like Darwin or Huxley, who seemingly manifest intuitive knowledge of their subjects, are but manifesting on the material plane that which they have already acquired on the astral as a fruition of desire and attempts made in previous incarnations. It is the common experience of such geniuses, as related in their memoirs, that the majority of their greatest discoveries have come to them suddenly as if from a clear sky. But it is a rule of nature that there is no blossom or fruit without the preceding seed, and this is true of the mental as well as the physical plane. There is always a cause for the effect in these cases. The struggling genius, nay more, the one who feels that he or she could be a genius, if that which is within could only be expressed, these souls will have their chance in the astral, and if the seed be well planted in the rich soil of the soul, then in the next incarnation will the blossom and fruit appear. We may carry this idea with us a little more clearly, perhaps, if we will make the following comparison. 1. The earth-like is like the phase of the crawling caterpillar, which feels within itself a something which it cannot express, and which it scarcely understands. 2. The astral life is like the phase of the chrysalis, in which the future gorgeous butterfly is being formed, and in which the colored wing already exists in the astral form. 3. The reincarnated earth life is like the phase of the butterfly, in which the ideal felt in the first stage and mentally experienced in the second stage becomes fully manifest and active. The law of karma performs much of its work on the astral plane, for there the soul material is plastic and non-resistant, the coarse thieves of the body being absent, and this role in law is exact and unfailing in its operation. Its aoi brings the seed to fruition, and each seed brings forth only its own appropriate fruit. Verse: karma, all that total of the soul, which is the thing it did, the thoughts it had, the self it wove with woof of viewless time, crossed on the warp invisible of acts, before beginning and without an end, as he space eternal and as surety sure, is fixed a power divine which moves to good, only its laws endure. That which ye sow ye reap, see yonder's field. The sesamum was sesamum, the corn was corn, the silence and the darkness knew, so is man's fate born. He cometh, reaper of things he sowed, sesamum, corn, so much cast and past birth, and so much weed and poison stuff which mar him and the aching earth. If he labor rightly, rooting these, and planting wholesome seedlings where they grew, fruitful and fair and clean the ground shall be, and rich the harvest due. End of verse. End of chapter.